Hey everyone, what's going on? All right, we have quite the interesting podcast today. Am being joined by Naruto, SlvrBk, Elmo, and maybe Boss Blunts if he decides to make an appearance. I have no idea why my camera is so hazy tonight, guys. I will try to fix that in just a second. But yeah, um, I'm super excited about this because they have been talking to me about some connections that they have found, and I've lost Elmo, guys. Elmo just disappeared. Um, but they have actually found some really interesting connections between our lovely Citadel and, um, Evergrand and just different flight patterns because we know Boss Blunts has been tracking the plane, that godforsaken plane, has been all over this world, and that is a whole nother podcast. Like we have quite the treat for you on that with one of our staff members who is uh, basically at odds with Citadel right now over it. So I will say this right now for the space. I'm not going to be taking in any requests right now unless it is one of my staff members. Like I see Hallister in here, just in case I need to help, if I need to step away or whatever. But I am going to hand it over to the group once Elmo also comes back. But we can get him back in a bit. But yeah, so Silver, Naruto, I will hand it off to you if you guys want to kind of dive in. I do have all of their links pulled up. So if you do want to kind of tell me which one to click on as we're going through, that would be greatly appreciated. That's fine. I mean, stream just almost saw me eat shit on the floor, so it's cool. No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. I just so my chair. I'm not used to my chair being on tile, and I just about ate shit. So it's good. No, yeah. Bullet point is 100%. So yeah, let's this is how you guys know. This is how anyone watching live. This is how you know this is live. Is that I would have edited that out. Um, so yeah, occupational hazard, I guess. But yeah, yeah. Go ahead, get started, and like I said, whenever you need me to start pulling up tabs that you're wanting to talk about, I can definitely switch over. But yeah, or should is anybody able to actually hear on YouTube? Um, are you guys not able to hear anything going on? Oh, okay. Let me try to restart the program. Give me one sec, guys. No sound. Okay. Give me one sec, guys. I will. Give me one sec, guys. All right, let's try to test this now. Silver, if you could make some kind of noise for me. Appropriate noise. I'm gonna clarify that. Can you make an appropriate noise? Say hi or something.
Well, that just takes the fun out of it.
There we go. There we go. All right, we are back in business. So yeah, um, I I'm glad we didn't get into much information. That's good. All right, Elmo is back finally. Add a speaker. Um, all right, so yeah, if you guys want to start diving into it, let's go. Now that I'm not falling out of my seat, Elmo's back. We're good, guys. It's Monday, right?
It is. So I don't know if what was heard and what wasn't heard, but so I'm going to start with some uh, discoveries that we boss and I kind of came across. It was actually started months ago on Reddit, and I don't know who actually started it, and I apologize for not giving you credit. But we took it much further and started coming across some things that are at, at the least uh, very interesting. Um, and I do want to preface that right now that this is all hypothesis until we get this better ironed out. But we started with the um, ability to track Ken Griffith's plane, and when you tie this in to not only the places that he's been, but some of the things we know he's done, i.e., a trip to uh, Grand Caymans. He moved $14 billion over, opened multiple accounts for trading under employees' names and whatnot. That kind of sets the ball rolling. So you're kind of wondering what's the end game on this. So Boss and I were talking one night, and he showed that actually Kenny had left O'Hare out of Chicago, went to New York, of course, on a refuel. I don't need to get into the logistic abilities of the plane, but he's got a plane that will reach pretty much anywhere in Europe from New York, and actually most of it from Chicago. But um, his travel paths are just beyond strange. One of them, he flew into Spain, and then he jumped like two or three places into Spain in very short times, times that were like almost a refueling time. And when you're flying an hour, there's no reason for you to stop and refuel again after another hour. It just doesn't make any logistical sense. So we came across the idea once we found out where his plane was going, losing some altitude, and it looked like he was going to be landing. He went into central Spain, and the only airport in that area is a private airstrip that is owned by a very wealthy landowner in central Spain. He's actually, I think, in the top four landholders in all of Spain, if I'm not mistaken. And it kind of leads you to believe, well, why did he go there? It was a 2 day stopover. It could have been for hunting. It is a hunting lodge slash agricultural area. They have vineyards. They have olive trees and things like that. But primarily, they were first known, and they got their teeth from partridge hunting. But they also outsource to different countries, and they hunt wild boar in Hungary. They very. I don't want to get too involved in it, but the point is, the man has a lot of money, and his business partner, they are both very wealthy. So, process of elimination. It also could have been that he's trying to salvage a business relationship with someone that is invested in, and there's plausibility there. He left 30 hours later, goes straight back to the United States. He did stop at another place in Spain on the coast, and that is also seems to be a path of his traveling all along the North Mediterranean. He's making little stops near Nice, which is just south of Nice in France. All along the French Riviera, he's done these little hops with a fairly substantial sized jet. And then at one point when he was in Spain, he shot straight across, went over Algeria at about 41,000 feet, which is the floor of that plane's cruising altitude. We couldn't tell if he was increasing or not, but all of a sudden we lost him on the transponders. And when I mean we lost him, he was already through Algeria and he was approaching Democratic Republic of Congo, going towards like Cameroon. Don't know why. And I want to say it was like 2 days later, he shows up coming back north again and goes into Spain, goes back over to the United States. There were also some trips that were really through us for a while. And with my background in the military and some other things, he was making a flight into what looked like he was approaching into Croatia. He came down the coastline of Croatia and started to descend. He got out of his cruising altitude, started throttling down, and it just didn't make any logistical sense. There's about 25 airstrips in Croatia, and it looked like he was going to miss those. And once again, the transponders, he lost him. But if you do the point of convergence when he left a day or so later, and where the initial approach was, it showed up at a place called Tivat Airport, which is in Montenegro. Now, the strange thing about Montenegro is, number one, it is got a very high populace of multimillionaires and billionaires. That Tivat area is an inland one-entry bay, but it's huge. And it carries a lot of docks for super yachts, a lot of multi-million-dollar apartments. There was one apartment there I saw, it was like for $5 million. But the biggest thing that stuck out about it is I knew that Montenegro was a country, one of like 12 countries that does not have an extradition treaty with the United States. So if conjecture, hypothesis, if you are somebody trying to get out of a bad ordeal that you've got with the SEC, if you're looking to move accounts into the Caribbean for both tax purposes or just to evade completely, you probably want to be set up in a place that you don't have an extradition treaty with in case you do come under some indictment, and that would be Montenegro. So there's a lot of these parameters that he has done with his plane. The other thing is sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. Another thing, one big thing about Ken Griffin, he is a huge art nut. He's an aficionado. He literally spent, I can't remember what it was, $800 million on 3 paintings in a course of a year and a half. A Basquiat, a Paul Cézanne, and a Jackson Pollock. All of those are very high-end artworks. So one of the things that's not really too well known outside of the people that are in the art world are these things called free ports. And free ports are storage facilities that also act as brokers that are tax havens so you're able to hide your artwork and not be taxed in these, or minimal tax in these areas. 2 of the very biggest are in Europe. One of them is in Austria, Vienna, I believe. The other is in Switzerland. I cannot remember what city it's in. His plane has come within driving distance of the borders of both of those free ports, and he was there long enough to make trips there. So it's we're wondering whether or not he's been offloading artwork so they can't seize it if he comes under liquidity issues or indicting. And this just seems to be a path of when you remove all the other possibilities, it's kind of rearing its head a little bit. The Africa thing still is a little bit of a question, but I've spent a lot of time in North and Central Africa, and there are opportunities for people to trade in things that are not necessarily trackable, that are very high value. Not just diamonds, but also we're one of the few countries that value diamonds the way that we do. The rest of the world kind of values colored gemstones that way. and it's all the way over from Sierra Leone into the Congo. It's Algeria is the same way, and they all kind of migrate those stones up to the coast. And for whatever reason, that seems to be a black marketplace for them. But Kenny's also in the Met quite a bit. So that being said, we can't prove any of this just yet, but we have it on good authority that we have a contact that has pretty much verified that we are pretty much on point on all of our assumptions. And when that due diligence comes back from this person, we will be able to tie in exact locations, land times, and whatnot. That person doesn't believe that you can turn off transponders. He thinks it's more of a signal issue. Some of it being in Central Africa, that makes total sense because there's not a lot there that would warrant having beacons that would pick up things every 2 minutes. Some of them does not, and so we just need to do a little bit more effort into trying to tie these down. Now, the reason I'm even leading into this is because Elmo is going to be giving some more information that also includes Kenny's flight patterns and his business patterns also, and it's more geared towards the Asian part of the world and specifically China. So I think that's about all that I have to say on this until I get more information and I can get a little bit more informed for releasing that to people. Elmo, you want to take it over?
Thanks, Beck. I appreciate it. Hope all you guys at a very high level understood what he was talking about, and kind of tying everything into kind of like what we were discussing as far as flight patterns and things like that. As I'm sitting here kind of going through Twitter and doing my homework, you know, China is becoming a very, very, very big catalyst, if you will, with Evergrand getting ready to default. And as I'm sitting here, I'm listening to back, and Zero Hedge tweeted, China begins the sale of 4-part dollar bond offerings, which means they're not even waiting until Evergrand defaults. They're just starting to sell stuff off. So we all know that they're in trouble. And the crazy thing about this is you've got banks that are pushing.
Elmo?
Yeah.
Kenna, can you hear Elmo very well? Because he's not coming in very well.
He's a little quiet, but I mean, I've turned him up as much as possible. I mean, yeah, if you wanted,
you turned it up? Okay.
Yeah, I tried turning you up, but maybe putting your mic closer to your mouth might be a good thing too.
Well, the reason I'm asking, once I got off speaking, all of a sudden, and now I'm having a problem hearing you too. So maybe it's just me. I might have to jump out and jump back in. I apologize for interrupting.
Oh, no worries.
You're good.
All right.
You can hear me okay though, Kenna?
Yeah, like I said, your crickets are kind of overpowering you a little bit.
Yeah,
but...
I'm outside. Yeah, I'm outside. I apologize, guys.
No, you're good.
When I come out, I like to walk while I'm talking, so it helps me kind of think on my feet.
100%.
So anyway, going back to what I was saying, we've done some research and we've dove pretty deep into this rabbit hole, if you will, and have gone back, as early as 2008 when the stock market crashed, and have kind of started tracking some flight patterns and kind of just looked into some things. And Naruto's done a very good job of helping us piece all of this together as well. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to educate you guys and make sure that you guys understand what's really happening, as far as from a perspective once we start kind of putting the pieces together. So, with that being said, I'm going to kind of go over some stuff that are happening within the economy and hopefully trying to tie some of this stuff together. Naruto, do you want to kind of introduce our first thing?
Yeah. So, hey, everyone. So the topic that's been going around, or that you guys have seen either on Twitter or Reddit or YouTube, you name it, even, SEC talking about it, is the delimit order in the IEX, basically the I exchange, and this AI algorithm. This is how it will start. Whoa, those are some loud crickets.
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't know they could go that loud. Shit. And so this is going to be tied into with the the fixed protocol, which is the how and how I believe it was Elmo that did it. It was the methodology of how everyone goes about communicating in the background, and by communicating and by saying those, it's our usual suspects, your Citadels, your JP Morgans, etc. But Elmo can take it off from now.
Yeah, I'm gonna click on the. I've got to pull it up real quick. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess through the what was the oh my gosh, I can't find it.
I was also gonna say, hey guys, boss has joined us. He actually made
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome.
Fashionably late as always.
Oh boy, how was the kids? That was the kids' game.
It was good. My girls had a softball game, so I ran a little bit late. So I played a little bit into the night today. It was cool. Everything good.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. I'm still trying to pull up this freaking link.
For the record, if I lose connection, it's normal on my end, and it started ever since April. So just FYI.
And which link are you looking for, Elmo? Is it one that I have, or are you just trying to read something?
So I'm trying to read off the delimit stuff, the delimit order type, and how that kind of ties into Kenny and how they've been able to basically maintain doing what they're doing through that delimit. I can't find it for whatever reason.
It was the very first link. It was the fixed protocol.
Fixed protocol link. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
Thank you.
The
So I am to switch over. Is this correct? Okay, we got it. We're going.
Onyx Biz Insights, yeah.
I did also send it over to you with a copy of the article that Dave Lauer posted on Reddit earlier on Superstonk. But just to give you a heads up in case you needed it, brother.
Okay, bro. It's what chat did you put it in?
I just direct messages to you on Discord, so it should be in your messages.
Cool. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, the IEX through the deorder limit. I mean, that's basically what these guys are doing. Is they have several different ways of communicating, and what's happening with all of this is these guys are going through a numerical system, and through that numerical system, they're basically saying, "Hey, hold the stock here, let it run here. We need to buy a stock over here, so we need to drive this price down, so on and so forth." Well, what you're seeing in the stock market is you're seeing it correlating through many different avenues, whether it's meme stocks, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's whatever, right? So that's one of the biggest things that we're talking about from the D order limit, is just to basically get you guys to understand that these many ways of communicating they're using it to their advantage, and that's what's leading us to them ultimately getting ready to lose control over the algorithms and all of that stuff, because all they're doing is just saving. They're just buying time ultimately. Does that make sense? I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Naruto, you want to kind of go a little deeper into that?
Yeah. So with the fixed protocol, it's. Let me see if I can pull up the Onyx Connect. So you have the Onyx S. So it was established in April 2005 based on the premise that there was a requirement gap in the financial trading markets for lightweight and easy to integrate direct market access, or otherwise known as DMA. SDK solutions for developers of algorithmic trading strategies and some other application frameworks. But ultimately, this Onyx or Fix type of protocol is what helps the entities communicate between each other in regards to the orders, because they can be on every side of the trade. And the thing here is, because they can be on any side of the trade, and by they, I'm talking about it's done through CME or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, because it's the Onyx S Direct Connect, otherwise nicknamed as Citadel Connect. And that's how they handle the data, because they handle the data, or how they communicate, how one inputs a character into a computer and to a software, and that's how it's executed. And it's utilized by a lot of proprietary trading groups, commodity and energy trading firms. It's everywhere, because it's, again, it's the exchange itself. So that's how it connects in this case to Ken. But you can go now, Aldo.
Yeah, no. So one of the things I was going to add to that is, even though Kenny keeps saying that PFOF, payment for order flow, is not important to him, it absolutely is important to him. And I think that he is, making money on all sides of a trade, because he obviously is the market maker. He is the guy that is, creating the prices, driving the prices up, driving the prices down, and communicating with everybody else, and then basically selling, a penny a million times a day, and that's where he's making that money as well. So, kickbacks from these other entities, i.e. Robinhood, Webull, whoever he's working directly with, I definitely think payment for order flow, if it were to be halted, it would be pretty detrimental to everybody. So, Kenny, you got anything to add?
No, I was actually looking through all of this code while I was scrolling down on that page, and it's like you can just see the just bullshit. Just
Mm-hmm.
it's
crazy,
laughable. Right? It's so laughable, because and this is why, guys, like we say, like, take emotion out of the stock market. You're literally trading against this code. This code does not give a damn if you have to pay rent or what you're feeling. Like, it just doesn't. Like, it's disgusting. It's so fucked.
Yeah.
That's about all I have.
Hop on in, brother.
Yeah, I was just kind of observing here. I actually didn't know that Citadel Connect was known as Onyx. That's the name of the proprietary software?
That's Onyx S. Yeah, that would be the nickname for it, because they're
awesome.
so that's utilized. Kenny, he is part of ICE, right? The Intercontinental Exchange. And so from then you can start linking your usual suspects. So you probably start seeing like your Jeffrey Sprecher. I don't know how to pronounce his name. But him and his wife, they're involved in many scandalous things. They have issues, or not issues, but they have there's involvements in real estate with Texas. And we know how heavy that is, especially with Austin and Kenny. Because of his data centers in Texas, or at UT. And so with Sprecher being involved, that will then give you links to the rest of the ICE shenanigans with what we're seeing now, this push to transfer your shares and whatnot. But that's what it is tied to. Sprecher is tied to that system, and you can start connecting a lot of the dots if you start basically looking at your red flags, and they coincide with some of the flight trips as well, like the South Africa trips. That's where some of the work is done for that transfer agent program as well.
Right.
Like in the country of South Africa, that's factual.
In Africa, so there's some other stuff. Yeah, I sent the screenshot in the chat to you.
Cool.
Okay. Perfect.
So we're talking about delimit orders at the moment, right? That's our main topic.
Yep.
Yeah, and I will.
Okay,
I'm gonna relate this real quick. Guys, they have a crap ton of information they're trying to get through, so I will take requests after they get through their information that they want to kind of put out there. So yeah, I will get to you. Just kind of hang tight for me, okay? So yeah, let me know when you guys
just
want me to...
like Elmo was saying just a little bit ago, I just want to touch on the fact that this is definitely something, delimit order, the reason that Citadel is fighting it so hard and is suing the SEC is because they absolutely need this. This is a huge chunk of the way that they make money. They make a lot of money by high-speed information advantages. Okay, so they call it latency arbitrage, right? Latency, you heard of that before? It's called lag. Okay, most of us experience it on a computer or on our gaming systems, and lag sucks, right? So it's kind of the same thing. It's Citadel and XTX and other companies like Virtue that take advantage of that lag. And there's a purposeful lag built into the market. I think that of like 350 microseconds, and so that's a really long time. For example, like just to reference Dave Lauer's post, he says that nerve impulses in your body take somewhere between 80,000 microseconds or to 120,000 microseconds. So 350 microseconds is very nominal, and it's a very hard concept to understand because it's such a tiny number. But you got to keep in mind that these computers and these fiber optic networks are incredibly fast. So the original reason for that delay was so that pricing and matching systems like NBBO or like the exchanges were always a little bit faster than the fastest participant. So one of the reasons for this was because they used something called peg order types, and it's directly related to the NBBO. For those of you that aren't aware, NBBO stands for National Best Bid and Offer. National Best Bid and Offer. So, for example, there's different kinds of pegged orders where you can, have them buy either at the low point or at the midpoint of the NBBO. And if the exchange that you're trading on is slower than the firms, then those firms can use their speed to kind of use those midpoint peg orders that are shooting for like the middle price on the NBBO, and they can actually buy those, or should I say sell it to you and then buy it at a slightly lower price, even if it's just, fractions of a penny or a few cents cheaper on every single time that they execute one of these orders. It is literally making money, putting money in the bank for Citadel, Ken Griffin, and Virtue, whatnot. So it basically watches the price speed, and this is one of the ways in which that they use your orders against you. They know what orders are coming in right before that happens. The algorithm is able to use this latency arbitrage, this lag, to its advantage to buy and sell, or should I say sell you and then buy something, or vice versa, immediately before or after, basically before anybody else can do so. So it highly increases their ability to make money. Ken, by all means, I just wanted to get that across so people understood what exactly these D-list is about, and that's a very simple explanation too.
No, I think you did a great job with it. I mean, I appreciate the input because you broke it down a lot simpler than I could. So, no, I agree. No. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, boss. I wanted to bring up something that is pseudo related to that. There was a tweet that was sent out early this evening by Joshua, Many-Faced God, and it wasn't a cryptic tweet, but it was one that I needed more clarity on, and he gave me a background. It wasn't really the boilerplate from Citadel, but it is an industry standard type of hedge fund contract. And in essence, what it boiled down to was once an investor goes in with Citadel, or any hedge fund for that matter, they're usually in 4 different types of ways that they put their money in, and they are tied in for a certain period of time, almost like a vesting, if you will. One of them is a 2-year deal. You cannot remove your funding out of that hedge fund without severe penalties.
Right.
If
That's
you
called
think
like a lockup or a locked
Yeah,
deal. It's a certain kind of contract.
Well, there's 4 of them. One's lockup. I can't remember the other 4.
We got gate, which is a redemption restrictions up to a fixed percentage, as well as one that's where a manager of the hedge fund reserves the rights of future liabilities. So where Citadel could literally tell their investors, you can't take your money out. And then the last one I think is side pockets.
Right.
Correct.
Which I can't remember exactly what they are, but they're kind of like set aside, kind of like think of it like a side pot in like poker or something like that, like a side bet.
So it's
the odd thing about this is within those boilerplates, of course, there is a release. So imagine it like a safety relief valve, a backdoor out. And once you go in to a lawsuit, that kind of negates your contractual obligations with the hedge fund, because you should be able to protect your assets. So it's pretty commonplace. The thing is, I haven't been able to identify yet whether or not it would be on the 25th, which is the first court date. I don't think that would be the case. I think it would be upon filing, because they have to exchange discoveries and everything else. So most of these guys would not be cognizant of what is in their contract unless they have an attorney they're acting on their behalf, or a wealth manager. So, for instance, if they were to call 2 months ago when they got a little bit worried about the dealings that Kenny was having, and they could have said, no, you're contractually obligated to keep your money in, yada yada. But they're not going to be forthcoming saying that they're in a lawsuit a month or 2 later, and now they have an out. They're not going to offer up that information. So if they're not aware of their contractual writings, then they're not going to understand that they can get out. The thing that I'm getting at is this could be a flood door that opens up. This could be a catalyst if whether on the 25th or prior, they come to the realization that they're able to pull out their funding or their investments, and it reduces Citadel's liquidity. And I mean, we could see a pretty good catalyst, I think.
Yeah,
that's a really good possibility. The only thing, I just want people not to get too excited about this, because Citadel only has 17 or 18 customers. So I know that might be hard to believe, but literally Citadel Securities, one of the largest hedge funds in the world, only has about 18, so less than 20 total customers, of which they have, around around $72 billion in assets under management at the moment, as of their most recent report. So somebody could definitely do so. And at the current moment, a lot of them are locked in, like you said, for this 2-year period, this 4-year period. And they very well could have been calling up Ken and begging him to or should I say, yelling at them to take their money out, kind of like in the way, like in the movie The Big Short, when you see Michael Burry on the phone just refusing to give people's money back. That's totally legal. So people can call up a hedge fund and say, I want my fucking money back. And the hedge fund can say, fuck you, we got a contract. You can't take your money out for another 1.5 years.
And how many?
Kind of just along for the ride.
How many in the aggregate do they have of investors?
Less than 20.
Wow.
All of Citadel's $72 billion is less than 20. So it's a very kind of a tight-knit group of those guys that are invested with Citadel. Like literally the top 0.01% are in that game.
There's no mid-tier players in that then.
Not really. No, these guys are the top dogs. You know what I mean? Like the Rothschilds, the top dogs, Bilderbergs, all those fucks. So it could be anybody, like we saw, like in Spain when we believe that they landed at La Perdiz airfield. And the only thing within 50 miles was La Nava, this gigantic estate that's hundreds of acres, that's owned by one of the richest families in Spain. That very well could have been either just a visit, or over there asking them to keep their money in Citadel, or to not withdraw their money due to the lawsuit. Because you're very right. Now, with this lawsuit that's going on, people and people that are invested in Citadel and Virtue, and Citadel specifically, because they're the ones that are part of the lawsuit, they can now go in there and take their money out. And with everything that's happening, with the orders being like this new IEX system being implemented, it's going to definitely hurt their payment for order flow, and they do need this liquidity. So that could potentially be a catalyst, even if nobody withdraws their money from Citadel. But like you said, even if just one of these 20 people pulls their money out, it's a lot of fucking money. You take
even
72 billion.
a portion. Yeah, even if they pulled a portion of it, a percentage out.
Hey guys,
so Al, 20 divided by 72 billion, that's a lot of fucking money. Go ahead.
I do know we have a lot to cover. Did you guys just want to sit here and talk about this? Because Al has been raising his hand quite a bit, because I think
we could talk about, throw some questions, whatever you guys want. We're just here to have fun.
All right, let me bring him up. I know he has a lot that he could say on this topic too, so I'm going to bring him up. And I mean, we might have like an entire week of just covering everything that you guys have, because I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21. I have 22 tabs still open that you guys haven't quite covered yet. So, and that doesn't include the other 11. So, Al,
it's all good.
All right, so we're just gonna do this all week. I'm keeping you guys all week.
Hey, SlvrBk,
yes, sir.
Can you tell me your prior service again?
I'm sorry.
Are you prior service? You said.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask what your background is?
I was in a special operations group. I don't really want to go too much further than that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So some of the things I'm prior service myself, and I've been kind of deducing what's been happening here, looking at things from a 10,000-foot view. So here's some of my thesis. It revolves actually around Ken Griffin's first marriage to Catherine Weingart. Catherine Weingart is she's American aristocracy, believe it or not, and Ken Griffin and her have 3 children together. So one of the reasons that Ken actually has a couple of jets, I think we talked about. We can attribute that some of the travel, and I saw this on a GME. There's a guy that basically broadcasts this guy's whereabouts. He said that somebody on the ground witnessed children coming out of one of those jets owned by Ken Griffin. Now, it's safe to hypothesize that during the time of COVID, that Catherine Weingart is taking those children to places the rich would frequent, like Spain, like Croatia. And we don't know exactly what he's doing. And there was that theory about, smuggling art. I think that's a very good thing, a very good idea that you came up with. I think I saw something similar on Billions not too long ago, finding these ports where you can stow stuff away.
Sure.
But the family thing is probably
well, it is. But I do want to interject. He has multiple planes.
Right.
Now, one of them is being run, we believe, under I don't want to say a guise. It's a pretty normal method of operation for people that have multiple, if you would call it a fleet, that 1 or 2 or even more of those could be run under a corporation that the only affiliation he has. So, for instance, they have this thing called a jet share. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's the only way that I can kind of.
I'm familiar with this. Yeah.
Okay, but most people aren't. So jet share, for instance, if you are a multimillionaire, not a billionaire, but you're trying to mitigate some of your cost. So the easiest thing for you to do is, for instance, on his jet, let's say I think with that model, it's going to be around $2 million per year operating cost, and that's both fixed and non-fixed. So that includes crew, maintenance, storage, yada, yada. Now, in order to mitigate that $2 million, you lease this out. So if you average 450 hours of flight time per year on your plane, and you tack on an extra 200 for charter, you're able to absorb almost, if not all, of that operating cost. Now, for somebody that's as worth as much as him, that's not, I believe, the reason he's doing it. The reason that he would be doing it is because when you go under these charter companies, they now register the plane under their name and under their operating cost. He's still the owner, but it is much harder to track the owner when he's doing that. And it's especially hard to do it when it is out of the United States, because they don't have the same laws and bylaws that we have for, oh my God, I'm brain farting. It's not public domain, is what I'm trying to say. So we know that he has another plane, and I've been trying. There's a plane that is out of London that was originally a Boeing, and I went through. It was with another group of very high investors that had it. That tail number got switched over to a jet that's almost identical to what Ken's is. Now, he has a house in London that his wife frequents. But we also know that they like the Mediterranean. And I agree with you, 1,000% it could have been. But we also know that in the divorce decree that he wouldn't give her the planes, but he gave her a $300,000 a month allotment for plane travel. So, right. You know what I mean? So we got to be careful on assumptions in both directions. So,
which wife? Because we got two wives. We got the one that bore children, and the other one that was the domestic lady, the one with the domestic assault. Can you qualify?
You know, I don't know that. I don't know that. I don't even think that was mentioned on which one it was. It may have been his last wife. And if that's the case, you know, I just don't know. I don't want to give you information that I get it.
So I have one last. It's kind of a tin hat theory. Do you remember? do you remember? The who was that warlord? Somalia, Mohammed Farah Aidid.
Yep.
Farah Aidid, one of the things he used to do was when he would come across money, he'd have it in American bills, and they found him doing work. He was investing overseas when his son, who was a corporal in the Marine Corps, he had foreign investments and stuff, right? And one of the things he used to do is he used to hire a 747 to pick up that money and drop it off to one of the and it was in cash. It was in U.S. dollars. And I thought to myself,
it was on pallets, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Yep.
What I'm saying to myself is, wouldn't it be something that post Arab Spring Algeria, some Arab billionaire or somebody, he's picking up cash from, he's flying it to Chicago where he's washing that money, or he's flying to New York where he's washing that money, and he's investing it within his own fund to create liquidity. That's what I'm saying to myself, you know, because here's the thing. We talked about we talked about non-extradition, right? What is an African if an African warlord's got $500 million or some obscene amount of money that he's got from illegal activities, and Ken Griffin fucks off with it back to the U.S., there is no extradition for Ken Griffin.
No, the entirety of Africa, the entire continent, I don't think there's extradition.
There's nothing. There's nothing there. So
but I will compound your statement even more. So you're talking about these cash travels. All right. We also know that he's frequented places, and we'll just say in Eastern Europe. Okay. Now there are some emerging markets that are prior Soviet countries. Okay, the Republic of Georgia, and 4 or 5 others that actually, including Montenegro and Croatia, that actually have a really, really great financial and banking system. Yes. And when I mean great, so these emerging markets, what do you get on your interest in United States? 1% annual, if you're lucky, right, on savings. And it also depends on how much money you have and what type of an account it is. So if you're a big player and you have a private bank, then of course you're going to have a better multiplier. But the average there on a $50,000 investment or a deposit on just a cash deposit into a bank in the Republic of Georgia is around 10%. And think about that. So if you're washing money, former Soviet Union. Now, some of these do, and some of them don't have the interaction with the United States. They're trying to push this all through Homeland Security and making sure that it's not terrorist money. But when you're dealing with some of these countries, some of this is falling through the cracks. There's ways to wash it prior to going into those accounts as well.
Yeah, crypto's one of them.
Yeah, exactly. And crypto is huge in Eastern Bloc countries right now, and former Soviet especially. I didn't even touch into this just because I didn't want to delve into it too much tonight. But there are rare earth minerals in Africa. There are. Exactly. I didn't want to get down into that, but you're absolutely correct. Now, the logistics of putting that on a plane and carrying it somewhere, not so much. But black market, a trade out, you're popping it into a port. I don't know. There's a lot of conjecture, a lot of theory. But it's so much like an onion. You start getting into this damn thing, and you got 5,000 layers before you know it, and you got snot and tears running down your face. It's just horrible.
I do want to add in that D did clarify it was his first wife, the one with 3 kids. I wanted to put that in there just before we move on to it.
There's Weingart, and then there's Weingart, and there's Diaz. Diaz seems to be the finance one. Weingart was just the first wife was stunningly beautiful. The second wife was also beautiful, but she's a fellow finance person. She took a brunt of their savings during the divorce, and she started her own fund, if you can imagine, which I thought was kind of
I love it.
Yeah, bet you they're long on funny. GameStop.
Do you know which one of the two was it, the first or the second one that was the?
You should look at their portfolio.
Who was it? Was it the first one or the second one that actually was the aristocrat?
The first one, Weingart. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, she lives a life of leisure. She lives a life of leisure, and I did kind of look into both of them, and I found I found that she's very monogamous with her cell phone, with her email addresses. She doesn't change them. She's kept the same email address, which is a Hotmail address, and which is still somehow functional. I thought they got rid of that.
She's probably still using AOL too. So
yeah, you should see Ken's email addresses. He's got like 3 dozen, and they're all weird domains that I've never even heard of, which I can only assume is used as I don't even want to know. I don't even want to say to stipulate, but these people behave like you or I. It's just the question is, who are you or I? Ken is obviously kind of a murky guy, and he's got all kinds of weird stuff going on that he does. But the wives and the girlfriends and the fuck buddies and everything else, they're very single-sided. They're not complex. You can see how they behave, and the stuff that I'm doing the backgrounds on these. But when I did the background on the first wife, I realized the 3 kids are the center of her world. She does everything around those kids, their education, which is private. A lot of times they have tutors coming to the house that do all that stuff. They teach them and stuff. And Ken takes a proactive role. They frequent Chicago and Florida together as a family, even though he was married after Catherine Weingart left.
Absolutely.
He does in fact have a strong relationship. So they do visit Ken's parents an awful lot down in Daytona. His parents are still around, and they do frequent that. And she appears to have a good relationship with them as well.
So when you get a chance, because and I didn't mean to interject again, but so you brought up the whole Mediterranean thing and the travel, right? The south of France, Nice, all along that French Riviera. I want you to, next time you get a chance, I want you to take a ruler, and I want you to place it along that parallel. Mm-hmm. And it's not too far removed when you transpose that over to Montenegro.
Oh, so, no, I believe you. I completely.
I'm just saying it's the same. You have the same climate. You know what I mean? So that would be ideal for someone that's wanting to maintain that Riviera lifestyle, but have the ability to evade if need be.
Right, and you touched upon it lightly with the non-extradition. That's the big thing, right? If Ken Griffin, if ETC, the clearinghouses, liquidate all their holdings, and they're coming after Ken. But Ken's no longer an American citizen. He's now a citizen of Montenegro, and he can't be touched. All of his assets are over there. That's SOL for the federal government because they're going to end up picking up the tab on this. But that being said, that kind of shifting of money, that kind of withdrawal of money, especially now in a post 9/11 world, even with the Patriot Act still in place, you would have somebody tracking this, and it would be on the federal level. I mean, you figure somebody like us sitting in a back office in the NSA or wherever sees a withdrawal for $500 million, or even a deposit made for a couple of $100 million. It's all interlinked. I mean, they can figure it out. You remember that company Palantir?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I do.
Palantir, one of the things that they used to do is the anti-money laundering operations for the agencies. They used to just basically track things, and they would be able to do predictive analysis and see where the next money was going to, or the next cycle or whatever. And you'd see how the actual intricacies of money laundering works from a digital standpoint and how the trails are left. I'm willing to bet, SlvrBk, that somebody in the Fed, maybe not the IRS, but somebody somewhere is tracking this guy to see what he's doing with his money. And they probably already know that he's doing this. And they're probably debriefing the president or whoever's in charge of this whole mess that's governing it and saying, okay, he's moving out his assets, so you might as well liquidate him. And the DTC and the clearinghouses are going to be the bag holders in this, which eventually the Fed will, reconcile the accounts. But it's just the fact that remember, I said this earlier in another space call. Look at the 10,000-foot view here. This has nothing to do with that fucking report. That report is a smokescreen. When you look at it from a 10,000-foot view, the idea is to destroy Citadel and remove Ken Griffin, the political operative, the financier, and nothing else. That is the end state of the Biden administration, as well as, and a lot of these young folks who don't have prior service military experience don't understand that strategic value of removing a guy
Of course, yeah, it's a detrimental asset. You're absolutely correct, and we know what happens to assets that.
That's right.
I'm not going to go down there, but
yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like
and Palantir, to your point, Palantir, we know for it's fact. It's not conjecture. They have contracts with the Department of Defense. They have contracts with CIA. They're across the board. They will at some point become a hidden arm of the government. I truly believe that, 1,000%. Not too far removed on how I think BlackRock reacts with the government as well.
I can tell you one thing about. I've used that software. I've used it just for a short period of time. We were collecting data on this guy. We were trying to find in Fallujah City a guy named Juba who was a sniper. And I remember the Palantir guy who was brave enough to follow us into one of these skiffs told us, the power of the software. They know everything. They just don't want to call us out on it because we haven't done anything that they deem that was, awful, or they know everything that happens in this world after 9/11. So
between the Patriot Act and people have no idea what their digital footprint
their surveillance
is.
State, surveillance state. The beauty of the surveillance state is nobody has any freaking clue what's happening. No, but nobody knows. Nobody knows how deep it is, and nobody knows the extent. And the only glimpse that we've gotten was from what's his face, the kid that's living over in Russia now, the Snowden kid.
Oh, it's Snowden. Yep.
Yeah.
Guys,
but,
can I?
That's here and over there. But
I was just gonna say, can I? Create's had her hand up for a while, so I was gonna see if we can see what she has to say real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, hi guys. My name's Create, and I joined this because I was just, thinking about the Citadel scandal. I saw this the title, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love conspiracy and all that. I was mostly listening. I'm pulling some articles for when you guys reach a stopping point so that we can kind of talk about it. And for anybody who's not versed on the issue, these are pretty good articles that I'm going ahead and finding you for you from Vice and Bloomberg and other I'm reading them too as I listen so that I can make sure it's good information and very specific. because a lot of people are afraid to let details out, but the articles that I'm providing are going to have a good amount of details for you to learn about the situation if you haven't heard about it so far. And then I would love to talk about it because I love conspiracy, I love attacking the big governments, and I love calling out people and corporations who are doing some shady stuff and lying about it. So that's all. I'll keep my hand up.
Thanks, Create. I appreciate that. By the way, guys, Create is also a part of the Nifty Ape Nation group. If you haven't checked out their NFT stuff, guys, just go do that, because I'm sorry, I've been like indulged in them the last like 2 weeks, trying to help them get some other stuff with the kind of putting some other stuff on BullHouse, and just kind of working with them. And so I've kind of gotten a little bit of a behind the scenes kind of fun take at what they're doing. So go, I know Turbo's in here too, so go follow them. And by the way, Create is an amazing like rapper. Like, come to find out, like, this was the most random ass thing that ever happened, because she talks like me. She's all very technical and then out of nowhere she like dropped bars. So yeah, go find that on their YouTube, because it's on there too. So I'm just calling her out because she's in here. It was the most
so much.
It was just the most random ass thing. Like, I'm like sitting here having like this really cool, just intricate TA podcast, and then she's just like, "Oh, hey, by the way, I rap," and we're like, "Oh, okay." And then hell, I think you and Turbo tied for that competition, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, yes, Booba's competition, we tied, and that was so much fun, to be honest with you. I'm down to rap later. I just would love to get through the Citadel scandal, because like I have so many theories. Like, okay, real quick, I'm pretty sure that the statements that they're providing in court are true. That Ken Griffin and Vladinev, they never actually met and they never actually spoke, because they already understood the gravity of the situation of like what's going on right now. Can I cuss?
If you keep it to a minimum, like, don't sit there and like put like 1,000 of them
say whatever
together.
the fuck you want.
Okay.
Oh, there's a little
They know
one.
what the fuck they're doing. Okay, they know how bad it is. I won't cuss. I'll just abbreviate it, but they know on a legal level how much trouble they could get in, and so they had everybody but the CEOs meet. Like, on some level there was coercion from Citadel. There's proof, but by the text messages of how bad their team meetings went. But it wasn't actually Ken and Vlad. It was people subordinate to them who handled the accounts. So we need to freaking find out, do your DD and find out who that is with me. Go ahead, Tiger, what's up?
I just wanted to include, at this point, it doesn't matter if Ken and Vlad talk, because he swore under oath that no employees from Citadel spoke to anyone from Robinhood prior to turning off the buy button, and the Florida court documents prove that they did speak.
Oh, okay. So the preliminary said that nobody from either company met, and later they were actually revised to say that Ken and Vlad had not met. So thank you for that. That's really important.
Yeah, I actually saw that. Like, I think that was probably the biggest thing that came out of that, right? The SEC committee, or sorry, the committee hearing or whatever, that they had not spoke, they had not, had any kind of prior engagements, there was no collusion, nothing like that, right? Like, that was the whole thing that was, coming out of the hearing. And then they have these emails and everything released that are like, clearly their entire companies have been talking and all this other stuff. Like, that really irritated me on a very big level. I was like, really? Like, yeah. You're going to sit here and lie under oath and have it, we have the recordings. Like, you can't, go back and redo the recordings. Like, that doesn't at all. You can't just do that. And then he's just like, oh, I think back of, when Kat had the plane getting ready to be flown, that's, said that he lied under oath or whatever. And he's like, oh, well, I'm, that's false, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, is it though? Is it? Because you'd actually have to prove that you didn't lie under oath for it to be false. So yeah, it was, oh God, that was such a mess. And
Wait, there's more. No, seriously, there's more. Vlad, when he initially came out after the PCO, he said it wasn't a liquidity issue, and then he said it was. But then in the third hearing, the DTC CEO had said that they had a $3 billion margin call. It got lowered to $700 million. They satisfied it, and whatever decision was taken after that is internal to Robinhood. So they didn't stop trading till February because of the margin call.
I would love to see him share a sale with that pharma bro, Martin Shkreli.
I'm just excited to watch this all play out because I love reading I love reading cases. I'm such a nerd about law stuff, so I'll sit down and read like 3 or 4 cases on my day off just to like do it. And this is such a good one to read. It's bad for us, but it's really like it's like breaking news for me. I guess I wake up every day and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes.
Bestest, I know you've been up here for a while. What do you got for me?
Hey guys, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
I mean, you're a little muffled, but
Okay.
so just try to speak up a little bit.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys remember there was an approval for NYSE to get a 2-day trading halt in the recent past. I think last 3 to 4 days, where they can halt the trading for up to 2 days. Looks like AMC becomes has come up with the connection between this trading halt and the NYSE CEO, this guy Jeffrey Sprecher, right? NYSE CEO is this guy Jeffrey Sprecher, who is also the chairman of ICE,
Yep.
Intercontinental
Yep.
Exchange, and then
Absolutely.
Ken Griffin openly said that he's a fan of Kelly Loeffler, and he donated to her about $2 million to her campaign. And that's where there's a connection between the trading halt approval and Kenny Griffin, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
I believe that whenever there is a MOAS or whatever short squeeze happening, there's going to be a plot to already kind of stop that from happening, or
I
Yes,
disagree.
if you look back at the previous revision of that filing, you start to see a pattern. That's whenever they implemented that provision, and where the third party, in this case, who could be a chairman of whatever board, could be utilized under the Investment Act. They're allowed to do so, and be okay for a third party, in this case, to step in and say we can turn off the button basically whenever. And by turn off, I mean trading suspension, which is the same shit.
Yeah.
Hold on. This only applies to the New York Stock Exchange president, not to any CEO.
Chairman of NYSE.
It's a chairman. It's the chairman. Yeah.
It is Jeffrey, that guy.
The chairman, right, for the New York Stock Exchange. So what exactly is the question? Your question is if we think it'll stop the MOAS or what?
I think whenever the short squeeze happens, there is a plot to kind of halt the trading and then defeat.
Well, of course, it's the definition of halting trading. It's why it's called suspension. But I think what you're trying to say is that because there's a connection to Ken Griffin, you think it's nefarious. Is that correct?
It's nefarious because the trading halt is supposed to be 5 minutes, isn't it? Whenever the price rises.
15 minutes?
Yeah, now it's up to 2 days. They got the approval to do it up to 2 days.
Actually, that's different. The halting is still going to happen after every 15 minutes. And people need to realize that AMC and GameStop are going to get halted every 15 minutes. I'm sorry, they're going to get halted for 15 minutes every time that the stock price goes up by a certain percentage. All right. Additionally, regarding the 2-day suspension, I think that's one of the absolute best fucking things that could possibly happen to AMC and GameStop. A lot of people are scared because they go, oh my God, the trading could be suspended. I don't know about you, but I don't plan to fucking sell if the trading's suspended. Right? And what do you think is going to happen? Let me finish. What do you think is going to happen if you can't buy or sell? Right? When 2 days worth of news of mainstream media, of people on Reddit and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram blowing up TikTok with videos about how they can't buy or sell because AMC and GameStop ran up so much for so many days and got halted so many times that they had to suspend trading. What do you think is going to be the reaction from the public?
FOMO buying.
I
Precisely. It's simple.
Yeah.
They can stop. They can halt buying and selling. They can completely suspend the stock for up to 2 days. The only thing that that's going to do is make all of us diamond hand and force more people to come in to literally, from fear of missing out, they're going to buy and buy and buy. I guarantee. Well, I shouldn't say that.
I believe
I'm
what
not
he
a
was saying is
financial
that
advisor.
that's their last resort. This is like a last resort type of thing, because the last time this happened upon the revision was in 2015, 2016.
But listen, if they had fucking done that on January 28th or 29th, if they had stopped it for 2 days, none of these people that got fucked would have been fucked.
Yeah.
Because they would have completely stopped it and been able to analyze what is happening at the situation and realize that something illegal is happening. This is protecting retail, but retail is too fucking ignorant to see it.
Yeah, I hope the message spreads to all retail, because retail is completely ignorant of these things, right? When they do a trading halt, hopefully there is enough discussion in the media, and the media is not going to tell you the truth.
Of course not, sir. You're absolutely right. But just like you and me and everybody else listening right here, we're all going to go fucking nuts when these things get suspended. I'm going to fucking post everywhere. I'm going to show all my friends, hey guys, I just increased my profit another 2,000%. Check what the fuck's happening on AMC. And that's going to, it's going to be simple as that. Because everyone's going to be doing that exact same thing.
Yeah, but I believe there is a nefarious correction here. That's where, I
think for sure.
There is a plan.
For sure. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah, the plan is to diffuse it, but it may act against them.
I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. This plan is, in my opinion, the 2-day suspension of a stock is not going to hurt us. It's going to hurt market makers and hedge funds and broker dealers that are doing things they're not supposed to. Because if on January 28th, GameStop and AMC were completely suspended, Robinhood, Webull, and all these other brokers, these 11 or 12 brokers, would not have been able to pull the buy button, okay? They would not have been able to go position close only. The market makers would not have been able to short the stock, right? And then when people were forced to close their position to sell, retail investors on Robinhood, Webull, and all these other brokers, the market makers and the hedge funds bought up those shares because they needed them.
Yeah.
Well, boss, how many times have we...
Sorry, one thing I was a little confused about, right? The whole saga started of halting trading or taking off the buy button from Robinhood was that it was drying up liquidity on their side. That's why the DTC or whoever mentioned to them to get more liquidity. They didn't have that enough, right? So what happens in future if one of them, there are a lot of market participants, right? And retail is trading through all these participants or brokers or whatever you call it. One of them runs out of liquidity, right? So
that happens all the time. Broker dealers get margin called by the DTC all the time, every day almost.
Is that swap automatic? Are they going to get liquidity automatically? Because
no, there's nothing wrong with getting margin called. It just means that they have to come up with more money or increase their assets under management in one way or another. Increase their profits their assets compared to their expenses
on
their
financial statements. They have a line item it's a credit loss recovery, basically, and that's like in case of emergency, break the ice, this is what you use. And so that's something that they have, like if you start looking through their financial statements.
Okay.
And again, that is one of the reasons why Robinhood had to do it. There was so many people, like Robinhood grew way too fast. All right. For example, Interactive Broker is a broker. If you're not talking, could you please mute your mic because it sounds really bad. If you were with Interactive Brokers, you know that they have only got about 1.5 million users. Okay. That 1.5 million users, that's a lot of people using a very popular and excellent brokerage app, in my opinion, broker dealer, IBKR. And then here you have Robinhood, who came in 2014 or 2015, I forgot exactly, when they started their company. And now they've got 15 million users, 20 million users. They gained a lot of those in the last several years. especially when the whole, GameStop thing started to kick off with deep fucking value. So a lot of people came straight over to Robinhood and Webull and created new accounts, especially Robinhood, because it was very easy, very simple, and it's very, very gamified. So people kind of liked it and they thought it was easy. So they over leveraged way too far, and not until things were way too far out of control did Vlad actually was able to see that they needed to put the brakes on. And I shouldn't say Vlad, because he's just a puppet. He's not really the one in charge over there. That's the other guy. I think his name is George. I just can't remember it.
Gallagher.
But Gallagher, thank you. Let's just move on with the convo if you don't. That was a great point, but I do think that people being scared of the stocks being suspended is backwards thinking, because the stock being suspended would have prevented you from losing your fucking money in GameStop when they halted the trading. And when they brought trading back up after the suspension, a whole fucking 24 or 48 hours later, the whole country and the whole world would have their eyes on it, would be buying that shit. So I have no doubts that people would be buying more if it gets a 2-day suspension. I'm not a financial advisor.
Yeah.
And guys, I was just going to add.
Yeah. I'm going to drop it, listeners, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a question. In the event of a 2-day suspension, what counter moves should we expect from the media and everyone else in regards to the stock?
Oh, I can actually already answer that one. Because I was actually trying to catch up on the SEC stuff. Because my day's been kind of hectic, and it was Yahoo Finance. I was listening to what they were having to say, and they were basically already saying that we've already gone through the short squeeze, and that the SEC is saying it's all done. Like, if you actually listen to what they're saying, I'm like, you are full of shit. I'm sorry, but if anybody actually buys this, like buys into what you're saying, then they have no idea what's going on. And that's really unfortunate too. But I just listening to him, it just came off so fishy, and I'm like, no, the SEC is not saying it's done. They actually, like, if you look in there, it says something about how it wasn't even, it doesn't show that a short squeeze happened, like the volume or some shit. Like, there was some really weird, goofy thing in there about it, and I'm just like, the SEC doesn't even understand what happened, because nobody can figure out what the hell these hedge funds are doing. The SEC has been turning a blind eye for decades. They don't care as long as they get their paycheck. And so now we're holding them accountable and saying, you need to look into this, because the market needs to be fair, and everyday average people need to be able to have the same opportunity. And like Boss said, they took that opportunity away in January. The hedge funds can make billions and billions of dollars by shorting a stock and making a company go down and, essentially running it out of business. Average day people can't beat them at their own game, making a company more profitable and actually building it up and keeping jobs when the job market in itself is actually kind of terrible. So we're already starting to see the narrative from the media. That's why I wrote those articles, guys. That's why I wrote that, is so that you guys could actually prepare yourself for us being the bad people. They don't want, or the hell, that it's already done. It's already happened. It's already, January's come and gone. We're coming into the next year. No, guys, we're about to go round 2, and they heard the bell. Like, they are having it all over again, because we haven't sold. We haven't let off the gas, which I'm so proud of everybody that you're not letting off the gas, because the minute we do, that's when they start winning. But if we just keep going, we have NFTs. Guys, we're forming an entire community that has NFTs. We're talking about crypto. We're educating all kinds of people about all kinds of things while still holding AMC, GME, Nokia, BlackBerry. What else am I missing? Sundial, Ocugen. I can't remember all the shorted ones at this point, but we're building up this community of the apes, right? Like, it's kind of phenomenal, and I think this will actually be talked about for the next century, because it's so huge, right? We're already seeing in the media. That's all I have to. That's the long-winded thing that.
So you're saying they're going to ratchet up the psychological attacks on retail investors, trying to convince us to sell, let go. Could there be an event where while the stock is suspended, the market's crashing, so it increases the uncertainty in in what is going on in the market and compelling a portion of holders to sell? Like, can we run through some of the potential scenarios that could occur during that 2-day stopgap window?
I mean, yeah, okay, so the average person, if you hear stock market crash, right, that sounds terrible. That sounds absolutely terrible. But if you look at how AMC, GME, the meme stocks are, they essentially become inverses of the actual stock market because they are so shorted. Oh, gosh, guys. They become inverses, basically. You have to look at, they're Greeks and how they're being treated and how they're, manipulated and whatnot. So I believe that they will sit there and say, oh, the Redditors are causing the market crash. Oh, the meme stocks, they caused the market crash. Oh, we're having, speaking of crashing, Zillow has stopped buying property, and we were reading something that might actually cause the bubble to finally pop. I called Q3, Q4, optimistically Q1 that we'd see the real estate market bubble pop. We might actually be seeing that in the coming month or so because Zillow's done. Zillow is done doing what they're doing because they got called out on a freaking TikTok video that I mentioned like a month ago. Like, I am so excited in a sense. I'm terrified because of the damn housing market, but whatever. It is so crazy.
It's not your fault.
It's not my fault. I'm not out there, and this might...
Exactly. So what can we do? We're not going to change it so people be like, wondering why we're talking about it, why we're happy about it. Hey, we're not happy about it. It fucking sucks. But at the same time, I'm going to make it, I'm going to make sure that I get filthy fucking rich off of it, and I hope you do too.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like, guys, I've been saying the housing market since February. The housing market bubble. I've been talking about this since February. So it's one of those, like, I had an oh shit, I'm right moment, and I kind of got like a gut punch, but at the same time, I'm like, I have been helping people prepare for this moment, watching it, make sure you keep your eyes on the market. Are you buying a house? Are you getting a good deal? All this other stuff. And it made me smile because, well, yes, I'm right and it's good, but it's bad and it's whatever. So, but that's, it's the same thing that you guys have always laughed at me like, oh, Ken is talking about the housing bubble crashing and all this other bullshit and this hard crap. And she's smiling about it because it's okay. Well, guys, it's okay. We're figuring this out. We're going to figure out how to maneuver around all of this, but that's why we keep talking, right? That's exactly why we keep talking.
Well, Ken, when it comes, I'm sorry, I'm going to interject for 1 second, and then I'll let you have it back. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, keep it simple. At the end of the day, if they halt trading, just remember one thing: if we don't sell, they can't cover. It's plain and simple. So if we are incapable of selling, they can't cover. So the stock's going to continue to go up. It doesn't matter what they're spinning, how they're spinning it, why they're spinning it. It doesn't matter what the mainstream media does. At the end of the day, numbers are numbers. And if you cannot sell something, they can't cover. Plain and simple. So
yeah, the point is it's you're working yourself into a lather over something that is a factor non grata, right? So
absolutely.
Yep.
Hey, I just want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
So for anybody in here who hasn't read the article, Kenna wrote two fucking just they're amazing. It's from the perspective of how the media and everybody else is going to portray the whole story, and the story from the ape side. And if you haven't read it, you don't know what you're missing out. You need to go read them. It's some really good shit. It's pretty much how it's going to probably play out, and all the stuff they're going to say about us and how we cause. It's really good. You have to read it.
Thanks.
Can I say something unpopular?
Absolutely, yes.
I want to say something unpopular, and I'm not going to probably be well received because of it. I'm a realistic guy. I'm a realist. I don't mince words. I just see it the way I see it, and I call it the way I call it. this isn't going to change, the system. Nothing is going to change. As soon as this squeeze is over, it's going to be back to business as usual, right? Hedge funds are going to get liquidated, including Griffin, and we are going to have in our possession so much money that it's going to be sick. It's going to be perverse, right? I will more than likely take a good portion of my wealth and hand it off to those hedge funds again, like BlackRock, like Vanguard, and I will have them make me money again with their whatever it is that they do. I don't care, so much about the ethics of it. I'm able to oversee the ethical part of it until this thing is completely destroyed from within. There's nothing any of us can do. There's absolutely nothing any of us can do. I've already spoken to a couple of guys. I said, this is what I want to do with this wealth. And they said, absolutely not a problem. We'll find you some low risk stuff in biotech, which is what I like anyway. Biotech, I think it's helpful at least. And I would advise others to do. I'm sorry, this isn't financial advice, but I think it's the smart way of doing it. I think if you're going to go to bed with these people, they're going to managing with that kind of wealth, that asset management side. You might as well help humanity in the bringing up in the investment world, especially finding companies that do cancer, do CRISPR drugs and pharmacology. If you're investing in those companies, ethical investing.
You got a hot mic.
I think if you're doing ethical investing, I think that should reasonably calm your nerves and put away some. Bad boy.
One of the hosts muted us by accident. I guess those can't stop.
Al, could you please unmute yourself? Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Continue. No, it was not your fault. I did it. But please start from like 30 seconds ago, sir.
There's going to be ethical investing that's going to be available for us. Pharma, biological, everything that has to do with preserving human life. That's going to make you rich, right? Unfortunately, these guys that hold the market, these market makers and these investment banks, they're the people that hold the keys to that. So, I have no qualms in telling you guys that I'm going to go, as soon as the squeeze is done, right to BlackRock. I'm going right to Vanguard. And I'm going to say, put me in your best biotech, put me in your best blue chip, whatever, and CRISPR and everything else. And I will give my money over to them. I really will. I don't think even this many retail investors, 12 million, all of us that are in the squeeze, will be enough to change anything, because you can understand something. This is the human heart, right? It's the most perverse thing ever. It's broken. It's so deeply depraved because it is in love with money, right? It's so deeply depraved that it's never going to change. And I feel as if trying to, do the tweets and stuff. Yeah, they have some awareness benefits and stuff, but they're never going to change the system. The system is in place. Unless there's a global conflict that warrants us, I don't see it happening. So as the old saying goes, if it's sunny out, you might as well make hay. And that's what I'm going to be doing.
Well, I do want to say one thing that's kind of off topic a little bit. If anybody here takes anything that I've said tonight to heart, I want you to be aware of one thing. Some of you are going to be seeing money that you can't even fathom. I mean, it's just really hard to wrap your head around it. But one thing you have to be cognizant of, if you do have a large share count, please, please, please be aware that you have to, if you fall within the parameters, look up the 13H. If you fall within those guidelines, you have 10 days to do your initial filing to the SEC because you are considered a large trader. If you do not do your initial filing, there are huge ramifications. Now, once you do your initial filing, it's a quarterly and an annual filing. But please be cognizant of the fact that some of you are going to be considered large trailers or traders. I believe it's 20 million a day, or I don't remember the parameters exactly, but there are going to be some of you that are absolutely within those confines, and you need to be aware of it. Please look it up. 13H. That's it.
Thank you for that. And we need to tweet that out too, just so everybody knows. Trade Tiger, what do you got for me?
Hey, I just kind of wanted to respond to Al's point, not to be like conflictive or anything. I think in this instance, like I understand the cynicism with government and the system and the machine and all that, but I think in this instance we have like a very unique opportunity to actually do something. I guess it comes down to a few key points. I'm working on something right now. I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but I think we have enough people to contact the right reps, and kind of put like a match under their butt, so to speak. To put it most simply, we have facts that prove the congressional hearing was dishonest to a degree. We know for a fact we don't have the real and whole story, but most importantly, with the way politics is split 50-50 right now, we quite literally have the votes to swing it if we want. And elections are coming up in less than a year. If people can get on the same page in terms of willingness to be active, and I'm not saying, I want to make it very clear because I know everyone's really paranoid about this in the community. It's not a lawsuit. It's literally you writing a letter to the person that's supposed to represent you and telling them you're not okay with what happened in January. You point out the discrepancies and you basically tell them that it can't happen again. And then at the very end of it, you just let them know that elections are coming up and we have X amount of votes. I personally think 50-50 is like the perfect situation for all this. Had it been split like 70-30, then yeah, I'd probably be more cynical. But I actually do think we can do something if, as a community, we can get our heads together and move in a direction.
I mean, not only that, you got elections coming up in Virginia, I think, and I mean, all that stuff counts. You know what I mean? Right? Virginia elections are coming up sooner than that. And there's some other ones, so even those matter.
Well, you got midterms coming up. That's factual. And to your point, the only thing these people understand is votes, and some of their instances also money. But really, the two are intertwined. So if you take away the possibility of their votes and you take away the possibility of their pay, there's a lot we can do en masse. And individually, it's hard to comprehend, but together, there's not a hell of a lot we can't do. We're going to have a huge amount of wealth transferred, and they start listening to constituents that have money, and don't play yourself down.
Well, that's the thing. I don't even necessarily think MOAS has to happen for us to voice our opinions. It's quite simple. Like if you can get past the whole partisanship, if we present the issue to those people as this is a bipartisan issue that needs a bipartisan solution, right? Because usually when it comes to policy, people are arguing amongst each other about what the government should do. But if we can do away with all that crap, I honestly think we have a stronger chance, and it's because we all have aligned interests. And how are they going to make it a partisan issue if both parties of citizens are coming up to them telling them to fix a problem?
I agree 100%. As a matter of fact, almost every tweet that I send out that has anything to do with any government portion, I absolutely copy everybody, the finance committees, the House Republicans, the Democrat. It doesn't matter to me. I want them all to be aware of everything comes to light at some point. And at some point, somebody pays the fucking piper. I'll be honest with you. And I'm tired of the status quo. And midterms are coming. And tick tock, 2 years later, we got other ones coming up. So it's up to us. And you're right. It needs to happen now. Start this crap now. Make noise.
I think we
Sorry.
need to really push before the next presidential election because we don't know how that's going to shake things up.
Yep.
But yeah, so just I guess a little random fact. So you can donate $10 million to someone for special interest reasons, but that person that's donating $10 million only has one vote. So even if you are a crooked politician, I'd assume your goal is to stay in office for future donations rather than take a donation, do one thing, and get out.
I mean,
I'd actually like to speak on that really quick.
Go for it.
So when you pay someone in the government, here, let me hold on. Okay, so the way our government works is there are blocks of people that work together and vote together and they talk. There's parties within the party, so to speak. And they're all across the spectrum. Inside the Republican Party, there's a lot of there's quite liberal ones, there's moderates, and then there's very stout Republicans. And they're all kind of divided about what policy they're going to vote for and what policy they will stagnantly deny. So that person, you only gain access to their vote, gain access in this way.
Hey, Create, you're breaking up really bad.
People as well.
Oh my God, robot.
Yeah. I was like, okay, is it me or is it
Literally
Johnny
the Tesla bot.
Yeah, Johnny Rocket, thank you for the $20 super chat. I love BullHouse Info. Thank you. I know Johnny, you're phenomenal. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. But yeah, you became a major robot. If you want to try again, you can.
Oh my gosh, I have a signal blister. Yeah. Okay, so it's literally the government listening. No, I'm serious. Conspiracy. Okay, so like I was saying, there's kind of mini groups inside of all the policy that's developed, right? Because they work in teams to tackle different issues that they specialize in. You won't put a very stout Republican on any sort of social policy, really. They'll want to work on gun laws and stuff like that. You feel me? So once you make that $10 million donation to one person, you've now integrated yourself into their whole network. They're going to talk about it. They're going to say, well, this person gave me a good amount of money. You want some? Let's make this happen. And now you have 6 or 7. And now those 6 or 7 get with their 1 or 2. And now it's 20. You feel me? So that $10 million goes a lot farther than you were kind of saying, just because of the way that the government is structured and the way it actually works as being a political party that is influenced by capitalism.
Right. I'm not contesting that, but what I'm saying is, sorry, I'll just make a point and shut up. It doesn't matter what party you're in or what slice of the party you fall into. Like, if the letters are structured in such a way as, if you don't represent us, we'll get you out, and enough of those letters go to enough offices to, like you say, that they're talking about, when was the last time something this big, and if we can get enough people on it, have happened.
No, you're absolutely right. And I don't want you to shut up either. I really like what you're talking about. So you're right. And it comes down to the fact that the people have to take the vote back into their hands again. So many people around me that are my age, I'm only 25. This is like my second time being able to vote. They don't want to vote. They're sick of politics. And so we need to remind people that, like, the older people, my grandparents, oh, they're voting. They vote in blocks. That's a real thing. And certain groups vote in block. So we need to take the vote back into our hands and just own it, because it is our right to vote. It is our right to say, we don't want you in office, we want someone else in office. And no amount of ads or campaigns can change the votes. I mean, there's that whole election rigging thing, but at the end of the day, they can't just take our vote from us. So I think it's our job to start building those communities that are going to be like, no, we're sick of it. And I think you're exactly right, Traeger.
Well, so I actually have, I don't know if you guys, if everyone in here and everyone on YouTube got to see that whole breadcrumbs that I've been trying to lead out there. And I'll flip my screen over here real quick, guys. But yeah, I may have, gotten a little bit too obsessed, as everyone will see now on YouTube, with this one window has, I think, whenever it closed out on accident, like 30 tabs open. This is the grossness that I am tracking right now with our politicians. And I found 1,085 records of Kenny G's charitable donations to different political groups or whatever. So, and the biggest, the one
Quote
that
unquote charitable.
charitable. And when I say charitable, I mean, granted, and when I got to show Boss Blunts and everyone this was actually kind of interesting. Granted, no, this isn't all in the same year. I mean, granted, yes, 2020 he was handing out money left and right, but so money to ballot committees, coalition to stop the proposed tax hike, 26,750,000. Back in September 30th of 2020, and then again in August, so like a month prior, another 20 million to the coalition to stop the proposed tax hike. So then he also has this 15 million to the Senate Leadership Fund, 10 million, these were both in 2020, Senate Leadership Fund. Here's another in October, 7 million to the coalition to stop the proposed tax hike. So, I mean, I'm hoping that people actually look through this whenever I put this out. So then we also have back in September of last year's Senate Leadership Fund, 5 million. October of last year, 5 million again to the Senate Leadership Fund. He also has these congressional leadership funds that are for Republicans. That, I mean, and that's all they do. They just fund Republicans. Revel Works, love to podcast. Thanks to your appearance on Boss Blunts, I discovered BullHouse Co, the website. Thank you, Revel. I appreciate the $20 super chat. You are phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Did not have to do that, dude. But yes, yes, the BullHouse website is live. I am working my ass off to get as much educational information up as possible. Educational, need to know, will always be free. Things that you may want to know, and controversial podcasts, things I can't put on YouTube, are going to also be into the member area. So things I'll have to put on like Vimeo, and upload it that way. Will also be back there. So, you know, topics that you guys want to talk about, and I'm like, I don't know, YouTube might shut me down. That'll be on there. So that is a way we're going to do that as well. I just want to get as much information as every side, every possible thing. It's not going to be, you know, conspiracy. It's not going to be anything like that. But I just want to get all the information out so that we can actually have a conversation and digest it and try to get to the bottom of it. But yeah, thank you, Revel. I appreciate you donating that. But yeah, this is just a small glimpse. I also found that Biden raised and spent over $1 billion on his presidential campaign. Trump raised and spent about $700 million. So it cost Biden $1 billion to become president. Trump lost with $700 million. Citadel is invested. They invested into Trump. They invested into Biden. They are in governors' pockets. Marco Rubio and a few other senators. They're everywhere. They're crawling all over the government. So is BlackRock. BlackRock's a little bit harder to track for some reason. They go into a lot of like super like SPACs and stuff. So I have to really dive into them. But yeah, there's just a lot of funny business into this. So I haven't quite figured out what that all entails, but you do know that if Kenny G's over here putting 20 million into the damn congressional leadership fund, I'm sure he has a say somewhere in there, right? I don't know.
Hey,
That's
Kenna,
my
I just
rambling.
sent you a name to your DM. I'm not allowed to really say it because it's someone that I met through a friend from college, and he's a Republican lobbyist based in Tampa, Florida. So if you want to do some digging, I found you a fun thing to look into.
Oh, I've
and
actually
I'm
run
I'm
into
letting
that
you
name.
know.
I've run into that name.
I was very close with his son until I learned a lot of things about what his father does, and I distanced myself because it didn't align with my morality.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you. I will add him to the mind map. He's added. Pam, good lord. Oh, good lord. $49.99 super chat. Appreciate all the speakers. Always learning something here. Thanks, Kenna and Boss. Thanks everyone for buying and holding with us. Heck yes, but yes, thank you. I think you guys just like making me speechless because I don't know what to say right now. I'm blown away with you guys tonight.
God, we love you. You deserve all of it, Kenna. You're so amazing. Like,
Hell yeah.
this is a badass space to be in right now. Like, I love these I love these education. And this isn't like directly about the market, but it is extremely valuable information for people coming in, people who are in it, and people who are fighting for this cause. Like, it's all levels of important right here. Okay, so you're a boss lady. We love you. Okay?
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know, like we need to be talking, and yes, we know I do know that we should be talking about the SEC filing today, but you know what, there's nothing there, the whatever report bullshit there's nothing to cover, right? Like, so what? They didn't report on what literally happened. Did we expect them to? Did we actually literally expect them to be like, hey, Citadel cheated, they fucked up, we're gonna fine them? Did we expect that? Honestly, because I didn't. I that's probably why I didn't really pay attention to the fact that today the report was being released, because I don't give a damn what they say. They don't care about us. That is the last thing that they will ever think, is that, oh yeah, the retail investors, let's back them. Really? Are we going to pay them millions of dollars to keep their mouth shut?
I will.
I have a quick question after whoever popped in.
Yeah,
real quick about
Silver.
the role of Citadel for Robinhood.
Yeah, Silver. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I do have to interject on something. You were talking about the whole Gary Gensler thing. People have to remember a couple of things. Number one, when you are within a lawsuit, there are certain things that you cannot discuss. Period. Otherwise, it negates the lawsuit. The other thing is you have to look at what wasn't said. He didn't dismiss anything. He didn't give it, try to take away any credence from anything. He basically was trying to, in a nutshell, go after PFOF, right? So he did address the payment for order flow, which is a great thing. But you cannot
and the dark pools.
make right in the dark pools, but you cannot make assumptions that he is not doing what he should be doing or what we want him to do just because he can't talk about it. I can't stress that enough. You got to read between the lines a little bit. What he didn't say is as important as what he did say. And like I said, when you're in a lawsuit, unless you want to lose the lawsuit, you cannot discuss certain things. And he's surely not going to discuss things that, even though we know it to be true or we assume that it's true, it is conjecture until it is proven. And they have naked shorts. Those things he's not going to address because it's not even part of the lawsuit.
Well, yeah, no,
right now it's the. Yep.
I won't Gary, yeah, 100%. I know there's things that he can't. I'm saying the SEC in general. I'm just putting them under one umbrella.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Gary.
Kenna?
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, Kenna, thanks for having me on. I'm going to bed now. It's so great talking to you guys.
Thanks, Al, for coming on.
Thank you.
I hope you come back soon.
Take care, man.
Take care. Silver, I'll see you later, pal.
Yeah, man. Take care.
See you.
So is Terry. So now that the MOAS is imminent, right? It's just a matter of time, and we've gotten to this point. Yes, Citadel. If Citadel becomes the fall person on this, right, and everyone else tries to save themselves political, 10 different angles from here. I think one thing in parallel, because we know this is imminent here and that's going to happen, we're going to watch it and play it out to the best of our abilities. I think it's it's logical to think that just like a few speakers ago said, that business as usual is going to go back. Yeah, that's from the perspective of people in power right now. So I would agree with that, where they will try to do that again, and we will have to go through something like this again until in my view, politicians see retail investors as the better choice, meaning the path of least resistance for whatever goals they need to get to. I think that's ultimately where we need to get to. So my assumption would be we'd have to do this again. And by doing this again, my thought is continual improvement. How do we get better from, some lessons learned from this time around? I go back to Occupy Wall Street, and I think their intentions were in the right place, but they weren't hitting them where it counted. And I think this time around, you are now taking some of the players out financially, and I think it's much more directed. I think there's a correlation there, and I think this is the right thing moving forward with getting people's attention and creating that type of influence. So I'm wondering how we can reflect on this and see what we can, potentially do better. I think, one thing off the top of my mind is, how do we make the imminent squeeze shorter time frame, right? I know there's a certain amount of retail traders out there that buy the stock, sell it at a higher price, wait for a decent dip and buy back in again, maybe at 1.5, 2 times the amount of shares that they had before. Well, that it does open up those shares in the meantime to hedge funds, to short and things like that, and things like that extend it. So that's kind of my thought in parallel to what everyone else is saying, which is absolutely terrific in this. So I just wanted to share that and maybe get some feedback on that.
My first thought is that when you're looking at retail versus a corporate investor, the ratio of retail investors that you have to have is so much higher. We need to equate to the amount of one business, for example. You need 1,000 or 10,000 retail and individual retail investors. Our dollar cost average is so small compared to the dollar cost average of a corporation that for us to replace and kind of be the better option, because we do hold, but it's just very difficult to get those kind of numbers together. But I do think that eventually it will happen because of all everything that's going on. This isn't the first time that it's happened. Something like this has happened, undoubtedly, but it's the first time that we've kind of taken hold of this situation and been like, no, we're not doing this anymore. Okay, you can't do this to us. And that was just my first thought on it, is that the raw numbers that we're going to need are just immense. And so it's good that we're starting to build this army of vigilant people who are not going to take this anymore, who are going to buy their shares and hold them and just wait for everything to settle.
Okay, thanks, Kenny. You can take me off speaker. Then I'll open it up for somebody else.
All right, no worries. Yeah, we are gonna start wrapping this up, guys. So who do I have up next? Foot, I believe you, or Marcus. Actually, you've been up here for a while. So Marcus, what's going on?
Oh, I was just listening in. Hello, everyone. I wanted to offer my support and wish everyone, happy holding. And to you people, I wish you the best of luck, and I wish you, happiness. Even if, you have to sell early or take care of things in life. People have problems with, family, get sick, things happen. When all this settles, all the people who make it big, we won't forget you guys.
I totally just realized that no one in YouTube could hear me. Sorry, guys. It's getting late. It's totally getting late right now. Let's see. Who else do I have here? Unusual Ape. I know you've been up here for a bit. What do you got for me?
Yeah, so just going back to the GameStop report, quickly about it. So we do have apes internationally as well. I kind of was thinking about that whole thing, in which it's kind of tough on Gary because he does have to keep in mind the international markets as well. Especially with like AMC and stuff like that. And also with the lawsuit coming in for him is kind of a little hard. You can't really do much because I know Silver spoke about that a little earlier, and I think we just have to just wait and just keep fighting and just keep fighting, and then let's just see what happens. I truly feel like something could transpire going into next year. I mean, that's my firm belief on that, but let's see.
I mean, is it the worst thing at this point if we go into next year? Because, I mean, we'd be all, long-term holders by that point. So the short-term capital gains tax wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Biden wants his fair share.
Right. He wants that big capital gains. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing. I think actually we have. Who is my October holder? I have somebody that actually just went into long term. Oh, who was it? Dang it! I'll have to remember it. But yeah, somebody's already now, I think, with GameStop, their short term gains is now done. So that's pretty awesome. Let's see.
There was talk on the table about, because Hungary made it like 15% tax no matter what, and it's been really successful for traders and investors. So hopefully they other countries look at that and they say, look at how good this is for the activity in the trading market, and they integrate that as well.
That would be really good. That would be very good. I mean, we'll see, right? Greg, what do you got for me?
Yeah, how you guys doing tonight? I'll be real quick. I just want to say I agree with Trey Tiger. I think now is a good time to everybody write a letter to their state representative, their senators, the House Financial Committee, even the FBI, because we still didn't get no answers to what happened in January. The report from the SEC really was nothing, and out of all this, they could still take the buy button away. So if it starts squeezing tomorrow, they could take the buy button away because nobody said they're not allowed to do it. So that's all I want to say. I think it's a great idea. We have, and not only AMC or GME, just retail investors together should just send letters, because they're all affected by it. Because they took the buy button from the meme stock in January, but that's not saying they could take the buy button from another stock tomorrow. So this involves everybody, and everybody should consider writing a letter to the people I mentioned earlier. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, no, I mean, they could. Who knows what they're going to do, right? You just don't know. We don't know. I mean, all we can do is, if we see any kind of tomfoolery, we record it, right? We record it, we put it up on Twitter, we blast it out on YouTube, TikTok, whatever you're on, and we say, look, we're watching. You have at least, in my head, at least 15 million people around the world invested between AMC, GME, and the rest of the meme stocks. At least 15 million people. At least half of those people are on some kind of social media, right? So if you have, we'll say, 7 million people watching that can record any kind of messed up crap that they're doing, yeah, I'd be a little bit more weary about, messing with things, right? Like, at least that would be me. That'd be my thought process. And yeah, Mr. Stonk, I know DFE has been, I'm not talking about him. That's not who I'm talking about. It was one of the girls, one of the women in our, I'll think of it whenever I'm off of here. But yeah, guys, any of the original panel, do you guys have any final thoughts for tonight?
At this point, shit's about to get crazy. And it's going to be fun. But just don't forget your mantra.
It's almost palatable at this point. but please, whatever you guys do, don't become so reactionary that, you know, when we start to run and you see it start to pull back a little bit, just be aware of the fact that it's going to keep doing that for a while. That's the nature of the beast. You gotta kind of have a little bit of faith in what got you here. Because it'd be a horrible thing. It'd be a tragedy if you were to lose confidence right at the beginning of it and just watch everything else run. And not telling you what to do, but just, you know, try to, you know, if you got to take a damn Xanax, take a Xanax. You know, it's
not medical advice.
I mean, not medical advice. You know, if bourbon's your gig, do bourbon. I don't know, whatever you need to do, just fucking relax.
Go for a walk, guys.
I'm just gonna piggyback off that.
Go for a walk.
Sorry.
That's healthier than a Xanax or some bourbon. Go for a walk. Go.
Or have bourbon with a Xanax and go for a walk.
Just don't get lost.
Oh my lord, I would be out for like 3 days straight. Oh my god.
You might miss the MOAS then, I guess.
So, and yes, I did say tomfoolery, Johnny Rocket. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. You know my mouth. I am trying my best to just be good. Okay. I'm trying to be good. That's okay, right? No, but no, I do appreciate you guys all coming on tonight, and I'm going to kidnap you again to go over the other 20 some odd tabs.
412 pages.
20 some odd tabs plus the 11 that we have to connect plus the other. Oh my god, we're gonna need like a 5-hour stream just to go over all of this. Okay, well, about that bourbon. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys. And
I'm surprised boss hasn't said anything. What is he? You asleep, man?
He might have passed out.
Well, you said Xanax and whiskey, and next thing I know, I'm fucking laying on the floor over here. So that's what it is.
My man.
Oh Lord, we do not condone this. I swear, BullHouse does not condone this.
You speak for yourself.
Oh no, you guys are amazing, and you guys are welcome here anytime. As I told you earlier, Boss and I have been we're gonna start kidnapping each other's people. Because we're covering the same information at this point. But yeah, I do want to say that I will put this little teaser out there. A member of my staff is now out for blood with Citadel. So we're all kind of working together to
We're gonna get them.
We're going to get them, guys.
We're going to get them.
There's your teaser, and it's going to be epic. Like what we have to put together, we just have to mind map it, basically. I mean, and I'm
gonna blow your fucking minds, man.
You know why though? It's because it just proves that we're gonna be fucking rich.
God,
we're gonna be so fucking rich.
Gensler, I want my money.
Wait, we don't have that music. We don't have the soundtrack.
We might be getting paid by FBI at the end after this is all said and done. So who the fuck knows? But somebody's got to pay us our goddamn money.
We might be sequestered by the FBI.
Anything's possible at this point. The way shit has been going lately.
That will probably be more or less what happens. Not getting paid by the
FBI. Right. Oh, wonderful.
To my NSA person who's listening to me, this is all off the record. No, I'm just kidding. But no, guys. All right, really, it's been real. It's been fun. I love having you guys on. Tomorrow, I have no idea what we're doing, so I probably will be like, hey guys, why don't we continue our conversation if you're down. But yeah, I appreciate everyone being in here. It's been an epic space. Everyone on the YouTube, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for the support. Mr. Stonks says, F Kenny. Tomorrow is Black Monday when 87 crash happened. Yeah, no, that's history repeats itself, right, guys? But yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow at 10 p.m. We'll figure out what we're talking about. I'm just kind of winging it this week, guys. So, see you guys.
Bye, Kenneth.
Thanks, Kenna. Peace and wealth, everybody.
Thank you.
Later, y'all.